Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with a video all about my 5-star predictions. And now I have been feeling a little slumpy. If you saw, the month of March was hard for me because nothing I was reading was making me love reading. I did not pick up a book for like 5 days straight, and I've never done that before. To be fair, I was sick and I didn't want to do like anything, but I've never felt that slumpy before, and I think I had 2 5-star rates in the entire month. And I've realized I need a lot of angst into my romances, and normal, just like cutesy contemporary are not hitting it for me. So I do have a stack here and then a few Kindle books that I think like I'm gonna really love. So we'll go ahead and get to what I think are gonna be 5-star reads for me, and let me know if you want me to do a video, maybe like reading until I get a 5-star read, or like were these actually 5-star reads and which ones you think I should read for that video. So the first one I have is Tal Bauer. I read the rest of the story last year and it was one of my favorite books last year, and I don't know why I'm not picking another book up for him. I also am very intimidated by books I think I'll love, and I don't want to read them. So it's weird, I know. You and Me is another MM romance. Tal Bauer only writes MM, and this one is a football player romance. So I believe they both have to like coach their sons' teams. Oh, so one of them has been crushing on his son's best friend's father for a long time. So, and I think one of them was a professional football player and one of them knows nothing about football. So they are both also single dads, and it just sounds like it's going to be very emotional and angsty, and that's exactly what the rest of the story was, but that was hockey. And I've heard people really love this book, so I need to read this. Honestly, I just need to read more Tal Bauer, so this one for sure I think is gonna be 5 stars. Okay, the next one, I think everybody's yelling at me that I haven't read these yet because I read the first book, I loved it, but again, I'm very scared of the emotions, and so I have not picked them up yet. But I definitely think the whole series, the other book 4 is behind me too, but just like the entire rest of the Boys Atonement series, I feel like I'm going to break reading them, so I haven't read them yet, but I really want to. And so we have Saving 6, Keeping 13, and then Redeeming 13 is sitting here. These are the new editions, which I'm actually really in love with how floppy they are, and I'm excited to read them, but they're so long. I feel like there's so many words on a page, and it's 450 pages for the, well, way more than 450. This one says 481. And then this one is way longer. This one is over 600 pages. So they're very long, and they're just very emotional. So the first one, the heroine comes from an abusive house and she has 3 brothers, and the hero's dealing with an injury that he's trying to hide, and he's a really elite rugby player, and they're falling in love because she was really bullied at her old school and now she's at the new school. And I loved the first one, but it really takes a lot out of you reading very emotional books, and I know that I'm gonna be just like wholly obsessed. So I'm like, I need to save those books for like the perfect time, but there's never a perfect time. I need to read them, and I think I'm gonna love them. I think they'll be 5-star reads, like no question. Another one, I don't know if it's this book that'll be 5 stars, but I think for sure book 2 will, because that's the one everyone talks about, and that's Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. I've been seeing this around a lot that a couple months ago I actually bought the physical copy of book 1, and I think book 3 recently came out. My sister has read them, she likes them, and so many people I know love book 2, and they say the romance is fantastic. I don't even know what this synopsis is. Her mom disappeared, and they offer the heroine an unexpected opportunity to enter the dark world of descended royalty. And there's like all these mysteries, and the king is dying and he has a mysterious heir, so I wonder if she's gonna fall for the prince. But I need a new fantasy romance to be like absolutely obsessed with, and I think this is gonna be it. I just haven't read it yet. Which, we're not surprised. Okay, the next one I've also been putting off because I think that Tori might have read this and didn't love it, but I do love this author, and the fact that it is compared to like my favorite movies, I'm like, oh my god, is it going to live up though? I get very nervous when they compare it to my favorite things. That is What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. This one is compared to The Mummy, which, if you know me, The Mummy is like one of my all-time favorite movies. Like, the romance, the mummies, the suspense, the intrigue, the mystery, everything about that movie is perfection. And so this one takes place in the 1800s, and her parents like go around the world all the time, and she is always wanting to go with them, but they always leave her behind, and they die, so she inherits their fortune in this mysterious guardian who's an archaeologist in partnership with his Egyptian brother-in-law. So she has to go to Cairo, and she brings her sketch pad and a gold ring her father sent her right before he died. She discovers there's more to her parents' disappearance than what her guardian leads her to believe. And I think she falls in love with his assistant. So this edition is stunning as well. This is like the Barnes & Noble edition, I think. Yes. And I think this is going to be great. I'm very excited to read this. I just want a special time to read it and hopefully like it because it's also YA, which makes me nervous, but I think I'll love it. Okay, this next one I never would have put on this list unless I was reading her new book, and I am fully obsessed with this new book that she's written, so I'm like, maybe I'll like this. So I read Beach Read back when it came out. I was obsessed. I loved it. But then I read People We Meet on Vacation and Book Lovers, and I think he gave both like 3.5 stars. I just didn't love them. But I'm reading Funny Story right now, and it's like consuming me. I'm obsessed. So I think I'm gonna like Happy Place. I don't know if it'll be as good as Funny Story, but I feel like Beach Read just set the bar so high, but now I know she can write 5-star reads still for me, so I feel like this might be a 5-star. I don't even know what it's about. Oh, they broke up and have to pretend they're still dating. Like, Emily Henry writes this like angsty longing so well, and I feel like I would love this with that, but we'll see. I don't know if I'm setting myself up for failure by now hyping this book in my head, but I think I'll love it. So the next one is a Nora Roberts, and The Search I read last month, and it is one of my all-time favorites by her, so I know she has really, really good ones I haven't gotten to yet, and I think that I'm gonna love Whiskey Beach. So this is actually my next book for my Patreon book club we're doing. We're reading a Nora Roberts book a month just so that I can get through her backlist. I'm not gonna get through it, but like so I can make a dent in her backlist. And we read Northern Lights this past month and didn't like it. None of us really liked it. I think a couple people liked it, but the rest of us were pretty disappointed. And so our next one, our hero in this one, he recently discovers his wife is cheating on him, and then she ends up murdered, and everybody thinks that he did it. So he is tied up in this court case for like a year. He's like the town pariah. Everyone thinks he's a murderer. So he decides to leave and go to this small town and go to this house on the beach and live there. And now he is living there. His grandmother is in Boston and is recovering from a fall, and so I think she is taking care of the house. And I think it's on an island. They obviously end up falling in love, but then there's all these mysteries revolving around the house that they're staying at. And then there's obviously some kind of dangerous suspense happening. So I think this is going to be very emotional. We also have like adorable end pages like of a beach, and I love that. So I'm very excited to try out a new Nora, and I think this one is like has the recipe for one I'm going to love as well. So we'll see how I feel about that. Okay, so the next one is actually, I believe Lizelle was telling me about this, and I'll link her channel down below. She told me I would love it, and it is Below the Pulse by C.L. Menegon. And I know this is book 3 in a series, but she told me I could read it as a standalone, and I always get really good recs for like angsty romances from her. So this one I got out on KU, and this one she told me to be good. It's about a guy who is a rock star, and people say it's very emotionally devastating. It's a dark romance thriller according to this review. She's a dancer, he's a rock star, there's a cliffhanger, so it's a duet, and there's a motorcycle club involved. Like, tell me those few things and I'm like, I am here for this book. We have a dark thriller is what someone else said. So this one says that it's a normal toxic MC rock star romance and takes some dark turns. So I'm excited because I feel like what I've been saying is like happy contemporary romances just like are not hitting it for me. That's why I have angst and fantasy and romantic suspense on this list. I feel like the Emily Henry is the only one that I'm like a little wary about, but since I'm loving her new one, I feel like she's the kind of contemporary I'm hoping to read lately. So I think I'm gonna love this. I want more dark romances, so we'll see about this. Then one that I definitely did not have my eye on, and someone actually messaged me on Instagram and they're like, this book is so good. And it was actually in the video I did where it was like books people are obsessed with. And so they said that it was good, so I decided to download it. So this one is P.S. You're Intolerable by Julia Wolf. It's also book 3 in a series, but I don't care about the order of series. So this one is a boss employee romance. It says that he's intolerable. She cannot stand him. He never looks at her. He didn't even notice she was pregnant until 7 months along. And the first thing he asks if she's coming back to work after the baby's born. So she needs a place to stay after her daughter's born, and he offers her a place to stay in his house. And so she moves in with her boss, and it is a Grumpy Sunshine, Curvy FMC, Close Proximity Single Mom, Boss Assistant. So I think that has a lot of tropes that I've been loving lately, I feel like. Especially like the she's pregnant and then like has a kid. I've been really liking that because I really liked Rope the Moon by Ava Hunter, which she was pregnant with her ex's baby, and that was super angsty second chance. So I feel like I would really like this. So I did download it on my Kindle, and I'm traveling a lot this month, so hopefully I can read on the plane and get through some of these. Okay, so then we have Garen Park, which I have been meaning to read for so long because I've seen so many people talk about it, and it sounds so good. I know it's MM, and it is motocross, and I am so here for really fun sports romances that aren't like your typical sports romance. So they're rivals. So it says rivals in motocross, work, and life itself. They're forced to work together for one night. So it says hatred turns to lust, and obviously they start falling for each other. So I know this is book 1 in a duet. I think it does say book 1 of 2, but I love a good like angsty hate to love romance, and motocross and MM and having to work together sounds so good. So I also think I'm gonna really love that one, but hopefully we'll see. Okay, the last one I literally found because I was just like scrolling through Amazon and I thought I would really like it, and the cover is so good. So it is Entranced by Sylvia Mercedes. So this one is a dangerous prince and a determined librarian are bound by fate. I love that. So she is serving out a 15-year sentence for a crime she doesn't remember committing. So she has to work in the king's library, and her only hope is to keep her head down, not attract attention. The conniving prince of the doomed city arrives, and she's like, oh god, like this is gonna be trouble. So he wants to buy her like servitude for his own purpose. They call it like her obligation. So like she has to work in the library. He wants to buy it so that she can work for him, and he hates her. He detests her, and she wants to recover her memories from when she lost, from when she was like put under arrest. And it's like the Fae Court. It says it's slow burn, enemies to lovers, adventure. This just sounds so fun. And well, the reviews are not all amazing, but I feel like it has the recipe for being a fantasy that I really like, and I don't see a lot of people talking about it, so maybe I'll love it. I don't know, we'll see. But those are all romances that I think are gonna be 5 stars to me. If I did a video on a few of these, let me know the ones you for sure think like, yes, you're going to love it. Please read it. It will be a 5 star. Please let me know. And that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.